Hi, my name is Nazia Khan. Welcome to the Transformation Lab DXB podcast, powered by Gym Nation. Get ready for an exciting deep dive into the stories of our incredible guests as they share how they transform their lives by turning their toughest setbacks into epic comebacks. This is where inspiration meets action. Max, to start with, and we're going to be asking this question to all of our guests. What, in your words, is transformation?
Okay, transformation for me, it's journey. And I use this word very consciously because for me, journey means something that is very important to us. This is something we know exactly the goal we would like to get to, but we don't know how we will get to that point. And this is what's coaching about. This is what everything what we do with our clients about. And the big difference between a business trip to get from Dubai to Riyadh by plane, getting to there, doing my stuff, negotiating, whatever, getting back one way. Journey is something much more complex, and this is something which is full of surprises, emotions, unexpected emotions, unexpected changes, and death. And this is, but we would like to transform ourselves. We would like to achieve something within ourselves. And also what you do, this is amazing because you shape. So this is very visible what you achieve with your clients. It's a different shape, In my case, this is more internally, so this is not so obvious.
We start with the shape first and then we get into the mind. But to be honest, they have to want to do it. It starts with the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this is a journey, and I love this word because this is something very, very, I think, emotional. And,
so transformation is underpinned by a journey.
Yes.
Okay, great.
But certainly with the goal to get in whatever better.
It's about bettering yourself.
Develop yourself.
Personal growth. Let's dig a little bit deeper. I believe transformation is where we have been somewhere and we had a value system. That was our before version. And then before we become our after version, the transformation sits in the middle and it breaks down our old belief system. And we then rise from the ashes to create our after version. And before we arrive there, we stop, pause, and build our new value system, our self-belief system, which then takes us to a version that we've never seen before. But that only comes from pain, heartache, trauma, losses. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. This is the journey for me. This is something that we cannot define before. It's a journey. The difference between business trip and the journey? Business trip is I'm flying from Dubai to Riyadh. Okay, this is very clear. I'm going to the airport, getting into the plane, and get out of the plane in Riyadh, and then coming back in the evening. The journey is we start together, and then I don't know. We know that we would like to get to Riyadh, but how we will get it?
The detail in between.
The detail in between is totally surprising. So this is the journey. It can be very surprising. It can be shocking. It can be not traumatizing. This is what we don't want.
Yes.
But it should be something which makes you really different.
And that journey can lead to a transformation.
This is the transformation itself.
Yeah. Introduce yourself, Max. And I don't mean age and what you do. Tell me, who is Maximilian?
Maximilian is a person who went through many different changes, basically 3 big changes. I started as an actor, was a very successful actor, film actor.
Wow.
Germany, Hungary, so did many television series, was a leading part in the movies, and was really famous, so very well known. And in the 90s, I had the feeling to be a little bit unused, so it was like I had much more within me. And I started to study economics and psychology. And I stopped being an actor in 1998, and then became a manager, top manager, very fast, very quick, very unexpectedly at a big company. And this company has been bought by German Telecom. They asked me to be the CEO of this new daughter company. So I became the CEO of this company.
How long did it take to step into the CEO role?
Oh, really quick. 3 years.
Wow.
And it was due to the fact that I knew exactly what happens behind and in front of the camera.
Right.
So I could make a real fast career because that was a time when interactivity came to the market. So I could define how to design shows and get interactive, everything basically what is about SMS that time, there were SMSs and votings, whatever. So we built it up, highly successful, took over the company with a revenue of that time, I think, 20,000 euros. And in 3 years, we made more than 25 million.
Wow.
So, and then, and then 2005, we got our second and third child, which was funny because they're twins. And the other one was 5 at that age. And then there were some things happen, that made me very thoughtful. And I decided to quit management, the leadership. Everybody thought really I'm crazy. One time acting, which was very financially also very safe and real good life. And then management, everything which belongs to that life, luxury, also driver, high salary, whatever. Yeah. But then stress, 24/7 availability. And I said, no, I don't want to do that more. And then I got back to psychology. And so now I've been, again, psychologist, leadership coach, and having my own development system, You Are More, which is coming from this idea that I had the feeling I am more, not only an actor, not only a manager, only.
Yeah. So it's true what they say. You can have up to 2, 3 careers in your lifetime. Absolutely. You're on your third.
Absolutely.
And this is the best so far?
Yeah. I think I arrived, really.
You arrived?
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is highly interesting because when you work with people, you learn so much from people, so it makes you also bigger. It makes you
grow.
Greater.
Yeah.
You grow. And I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
So I'm also an entrepreneur because I'm running companies in Dubai, in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Hungary. So I'm also an entrepreneur, but I'm not focusing on that. So this is something that I have to do.
Yes.
This is the obligation, but basically I feel very well in this.
You enjoy what you do now? Would you say the moment when you arrived, was that the moment that defined purpose for you?
Yes, this is purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is purpose.
Okay, great. So tell me, what was the break between acting, CEO, and psychologist?
For me, it's one line, basically, because I always, because I dealt with people. When an actor, you are playing people. Okay. When you're a manager, then you're leading people. And now I'm coaching them.
Yeah.
So I'm helping them, supporting them. So basically, people is the main motto, let's say it that way.
And in terms of timings, how long did you spend being an actor to CEO to now psychologist?
14 years acting.
Yeah.
Then 11 years top management. Mm-hmm. And then now 16 years.
So you can just reinvent yourself over and over.
There were some overlapping periods.
Yeah. So the need to pursue purpose, becoming a psychologist, was greater than the salary that you were on, the CEO salary and the luxury lifestyle.
Far more important.
So you took a gamble? Was it a big risk?
Yeah,
I mean,
certainly if you have 3 kids, 3 children, my wife is a medical doctor, was at home at that time, so it was certainly something I took her, I took her hands and I said, okay, now we're jumping, so 10,000 feet. And then...
how did she respond to that?
Very well accepting, very well accepting. So living in marriage now for 35 years, so which is not very often, but she was very accepting. Also questioning some decisions, certainly, which was good. And you need also people in your life, they question you, or not you, but, your actions, your decisions. So this is what brings you forward.
Exactly, precisely. My partner, Ravi, he doesn't question me much, but he's cautious and I'm the risk taker. He when I've taken a lot of risks this year in scaling up my business, and there's been some downfalls and I failed along the way, but he never ever questions my failures. He just asks, was it a calculated risk? And when I look back, some of the risks are not calculated, but it's so important to have a partner that is supportive of your journey, is my point. Because it's inevitable. The journey is going to be up and down,
Yeah.
And especially in a new business, it takes a little bit of time to stabilize.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So let's, how did we first meet? Let's share that with our listeners.
Oh, we were sitting together. It was the
Speaker's
speaker
dinner.
dinner. Yeah,
Yeah.
speaker dinner at the World Biohack Summit. It was 2 months ago or something like this.
Yeah.
And you were sitting me and I said, okay, this lady has amazing energy, you know, so we found somehow very, very similar common language. And then so we started to talk, and then I remember that. Yeah.
You remember
And
that?
then 2 days later, we met again.
Yeah, at the World Biohack Summit.
Yeah, but no, also after. You know,
And after, yeah. We've met a
okay.
few times. So
Yeah.
we met at the World Biohack. No, we met at the speaker's dinner before the World Biohack Summit.
Was-
We exchanged some details there, connected you to my team, and then I did a session with you
Mhm.
where I learned fascinating things that, and I will let you explain, but it's so simple that behavior, talent, and emotions, unless these three things are not aligned, you told me in your
Yeah.
words, then you were not destined for success. So
Yeah.
the three have to come together in a blend to deliver a successful outcome in business or
Yeah.
in personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about that system.
Okay, the system is about this a personality assessment, let's call it that way, which goes very, very deep. Really, it's the deepest analysis what you can have in the world. And we found that the human performance basically built up of three components. This is behavior, motivation, your talents, and or mindset. So this is what we measure. And then they don't build common platforms. So they're not showing something. They don't interact with each other. You know, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
And this is what in my work need to do very often. You know, how to bring the three components together. But then, in your case, for example, most important is people, they have a very nice intersection. How we can grow this intersection and reducing stress, because this is the biggest problem in the world. Where people are totally stressed. How we can reduce stress by growing not only potential, because the potential is given, but growing your performance.
Yeah.
The quality.
And I've been told to slow down. I'm growing too fast and leaving sometimes my team behind.
Yeah, this is your natural style. We're talking about two different behavior styles. So you can be natural and you can be adaptive. The adaptive is what makes us sick. So the society is basically sick because so many people are adopted, you know, so they don't show their true self. And yeah, in your case, you show it. So you're very authentic, and you authentic self very quick.
Quick.
So
yeah. And I think adaptive is really important for us, because unless we adapt, we are going to hinder our growth, right? Adaptability is key.
We're talking about two things. We're talking one time about, an adaptation which is conscious.
Yeah.
I can adapt myself because, for example, there are people, they're introverted and should sit here now with you, and then they will feel like a little bit awkward, you know, it's a little bit, you know, it's heavy for them. But for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, for 1 hour, I'm prepared for that. I can do it. I adapt myself. I show myself a little bit more extroverted. But then I'm going back into this is very important, my psychological safety. And then I can, you know, reload.
Yeah. Right.
An adaptation which is unconscious means that you adapt yourself, but you don't know about it.
Right.
You adapt yourself because you
It's
get
natural.
signals. It's not natural.
Right.
So it's coming because the environment shows you some signals, and you might misinterpret the signals or misunderstand, but you think that, oh, now I have to adapt myself, otherwise they wouldn't like me, you know, or I would lose my job, or many different criteria, you know. And this adaptation, and I'm telling you, out of the statistics, we worked in the last years with more than 4.5 million people. So we have an amazing benchmark.
Wow.
And what we can see is worldwide, very similar typology. And really, absolute, so your nationality, everything is totally indifferent. The main characteristics are very similar. And what we can see is that really massive majority of society is adapted.
Okay. You've developed a system called You Are More.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with 6 pillars. Explain to us what that means. Break it down for us.
Okay, you are more, was born 2014, as I recognize that managers, leaders need a little bit more support. So they need to understand how people are, because they manage systems, they manage numbers, figures. All the time they are just thinking in very measurable, very rational things. But the persons that they have to manage, they are basically a secret, so they don't know anything about them. Can you imagine it was a doctor, for example, who studied medicine and then coming to a pharmaceutical company, and he's becoming the marketing director, and you have a team to manage, but you never ever learn something about psychology, about people, because you're basically a medical doctor or a marketing manager, but not in this sense, you don't know this field. So they need help. And this is what we do, is basically showing them that you can make even people measurable. You can make them absolutely visible. And when you understand them, because I see them, I can accept them. When you have accepted them, then you should start with yourself. So this is the first thing. And I appreciate it so much. It's so important. And this is your growth. And this is your absolutely fantastic characteristic, that you have chosen this. You said, Max, I would like to do that. Because people who are looking for self-awareness, are looking for self-knowledge, they achieve more. Always more.
I always want to know more about me.
Yeah, but this is just, because
I'm on this quest. I'm on this growth mission,
Yeah.
And I think growth is a never-ending journey. And I think if we were perfect, which doesn't exist, if we achieved perfection, we would be bored. We would have nothing to work towards, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that when you're on a quest for growth from a personal point of view, and you're growing your business, and you're transforming clients, I think you have to constantly learn things about you that you can improve upon, and why we fail at certain things and we win at certain things. And yeah, I'm self-aware, but I love I think I have an analytical mind. I want to know everything, I want to understand everything, and I want to become better at things that I'm not good at. But I also accept the fact that I don't have to be good at everything. You can hire people, you can hire talents, so the things I struggle with, I just let them go now. And so, yeah, I think self-awareness is something that we should all be aware of. What would you say?
But in your case, I love it, because this is walk the talk.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you could give one tip, or I don't know, it could be more than one, to our listeners, how to become more self-aware? What would that be?
Listen to others. Listen to others, their reactions. I don't like this. This is very, this is a typical social media saying now and then. You can see many posts about it, that don't listen to others and live your life and you're individual, and lie. This is a BS. Sorry for that, but really, to be very clear on that. You have to listen to others. You have to understand why people do say things about you, for example, because one of the most important things in life is to understand your impact on others.
Yeah.
So this is one thing. The other question is, certainly, this is the more important part, what I'm doing with that information. Certainly, they shouldn't destroy me or something. So I should be very self-aware, and also my self-esteem should be high enough to deal with them, even when they are a little bit critical. So go for the highest self-awareness. This is what people should do, everybody. You have to go for the highest self-awareness, and this is something that you have to work for. So this is nothing easy to get, but you can get via personality assessment, for example. And also, when you get this information, the second step is accept yourself. And this is not easy many.
It's not easy. And I think the point about social media, and I agree with you, it's become very safe. And when you comment on a post, you have to be politically correct. I get that. I think, but when there is constructive feedback, then I think it is our responsibility to listen to that feedback and learn from it, and then apply the changes. But I think quite often in this world, people say, oh, that person's toxic, or they spoke to me in a negative way, I'm not going to take that on board. But actually, sometimes you need to listen to that feedback, because that feedback will unlock your barriers, wherever you are blocked. And we don't like the feedback we hear. I remember one client saying to me, very early phase of my coaching, early last year, for a motivational performance coach, you're not very motivational. And the reason she said that is because I'm big on accountability. I will deliver results and transformation, but the client has to show up for themselves. And she failed to show up like, over and over and over. So when I spoke to her in a very direct but constructive way, she felt that that wasn't motivational. But it wasn't the point to be motivational. It was the point for constructive feedback.
Yeah.
And I had to explain the difference. You know, I'm motivational when I need to be, but actually you've hired me to deliver a result. You're getting in the way of delivering that result. So now I have to step in and give you feedback. And it's your responsibility to take that feedback on board or not. If you want to grow, I suggest you take the feedback. But I get it. I think some people just shut down the feedback, you know, they don't listen to it. And that is lack of self-awareness as far as I'm concerned.
Lack of self-awareness, lots of misunderstandings and misinterpretation of this whole industry, what we are working in, you know, so this is a bigger problem. But in the case of managers, and that's why coming back to you are more, because that was very important to give them something that makes them safe.
Yeah.
Give them the safety, because you are lost in your job, you know, so many tasks, so many stress, pressure, everything. So the most important thing is, how can I get back to my safe harbor? And this is self-awareness. This is self-knowledge. And if you change career, many people try to do, you know, then first step is I have to know everything about myself, because certainly you can make also big mistakes, which is nothing bad about it when you learn from them. But you can avoid many, many things, many negative outcomes, you know, when you know what you do.
Yeah, and there's an element of confidence that comes from it, you know. When I left my job just under 2 years ago, I knew that I would have my business at a stage within 6 months where I wanted it to be. So I took a gamble. And, you know, the best things in life are worth the gambling on. Like, if we don't take the risk, if we just stay in the comfort, for me, the comfort zone is mediocre. And mediocrity in my world is a sin. Playing it safe is a sin. Because when you play safe, you don't grow, as far as I'm concerned. So you took that gamble, and it seems like it's paid off. Let me ask you something. When did you first encounter a big challenge that flipped the narrative in life for you? Like, when was that, and how did it make you feel?
A big challenge, really big challenge, was the realization in my family. Realization as top manager, flying all around the world, you know, and just having
Flying
a good
in life. Yeah.
flying in life. And then to make the story very short, it was like talking about the birth of our twins. And then my son was 5 and then became 8, and then started to do many strange things, you know. In the school teachers, they were complaining and told me that I might have ADHD. And then, you know, me from psychological background, my wife, medical doctor, we said, okay, can be. So I took him to a child psychologist. And then he told me, okay, good, you just wait here. I'm going with him, you know, and talk to him. And then they went, and I waited 1 hour, 2 hours, didn't come back, you know, and so I couldn't even imagine what they're doing. And then after 2.5 hours, they came back. And then my son with shining face, you know, I have to tell you, really, I have to admit, never seen happy before, you know.
Wow.
And then I was just like, oh, Dad, you know, Papa in German. Okay. And then the psychologist approached me and said, so I did all the tests with your son, and he has nothing. He has no ADHD. He even scored the best in all items, you know, in these tests. And his shining face, you know what, is not coming from the experience, because we went down to the forest and we have pretended to hunting wild.
Wow.
But that was not that. His shining face is coming because someone has finally paid him attention for 2.5 hours.
We are inviting local companies to promote their brand in Gym Nation. If your target audience is the health-conscious, fitness-savvy consumer, and activation at Gym Nation could elevate your visibility and expand your reach in multiple locations in multiple territories, members like nothing better than a giveaway or a good sample sale. If you want to get involved, please get in touch with us today. Oh, that's given me the goosebumps.
And the same for me, you know. This was like, striking my heart, you know, and said, okay, now I need time, you know, to understand what's going on. And then that was the point. That was the only chance, the real challenge in my
And
life.
what
That
did
I
the
said I had to do
psychologist,
something.
what did the psychologist say to you for you to, apart from the, the shining smile on your boy's face, what was the psychologist like? What was their advice?
The biggest point was, yes, I asked him because I was so happy about the result. I said, okay, he has no ADHD. So I said, well, then. And then he looked at me and said, the problem. Yeah.
The problem's not the son.
It's not.
You thought there was a problem, but the problem is you.
Yeah. So
And how did that make you feel?
Very bad, very responsible, very, as a dad, you overthink your life at this moment, really, and to say what is important. And now we're getting back to the question of purpose. What is really purpose in your life? And I thought, I lost my parents very, very early. So I was 24 and then they died. And for me, it was very important to have big family, 3 kids and whatever, and a stable relationship. And then I realized that I do fail. Really in this matter, I do fail. And we people, what my clients are doing.
So just going back a little bit, Max.
Yeah.
So you're winning in life, but you're failing with your son. So then what? What changed? What change did that dynamic drive in your life?
Yeah. I had to understand that I do have to do something, differently. And that was certainly the decision. So meet a decision and quit the job, to get back to a normal life, which is not normal in terms of being at home, not doing anything. So I'm very active still and traveling. Now they are adults, so there's a different situation. But
is he still smiling?
Oh yeah, he's very happy. Became a very happy person. All the 3 really is very proud of that. But the main thing was to understand what time is. The time matters. And I didn't feel that because for me it was only task. The success is everything. And to get back to
even as a psychologist, were you a psychologist at this point?
Yeah, so
you were.
Yeah.
Okay. So because we discussed that you stepped into your purpose by becoming a psychologist, helping people become better versions of themselves, helping unlock their potential, bringing down barriers, helping them in that journey of transformation. But you were still task-driven up in that role.
I was a top manager. You know what you do, you are dedicated to.
Yeah.
So I am a guy, when I'm doing something, I want to do it 100%.
I mean, before
it's not about being perfect, but
for the listeners, before we got Max on this podcast, he told me, Nazia, I'm in Dubai between the 1st and the 10th, and this is the only day and the only time slot that I can make this podcast. Are you still doing it?
This week is particularly very difficult, but sometimes yes, but it's normal. Look, this is nothing about, we cannot reduce the pressure. The pressure is there always. How do we react to the pressure? So
but I feel like I'm only worth 90 minutes of your time on a Friday, like that. Actually, that made me unhappy. How would you deal with that?
Okay, no, this is a specific week. My business partner is here from London. No, it's important. It's a good question. He's not here, and we have to do as much as we can, So we have a very tight schedule. But normally, I manage my time really well.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to tell you something, because most people make the mistake that they ask themselves, what matters? What's the matter with me?
Yeah.
And instead of this, I ask myself, what matters the most to me?
Yeah.
And that was for me this.
And you made more time for your son.
Yeah, not only that, but also and then the 2 others, and then to understand, what is really important, and also to quit, also relationships, just to.
And that was the defining moment.
It was a very defining moment. And you need courage, and this is what I'm doing with the clients now, telling them we have you did the profile, you know what I'm talking about. There we have also an item which goes role awareness. And role awareness means I believe very much in my role, current role or roles. Your role is also being a father, a mother, a partner, whatever, And when I'm asking men, for example, so top managers, so tell me please about your roles, because I can see that sometimes they value the role much higher than themselves also, and taking the business cards, throwing them away, and then asking them, so who are you now? And then they start to tell me, I am the CEO, I am the president in the golf club, I'm a husband, and we have 2 children at home that I know. Then I know, that it's not right.
It's not right. That's why I said I opened the podcast with tell me about yourself, and I'm not talking about age, profession. That's not who we are. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking ahead, what's next for you?
I would like to continue.
And why Dubai? Why Dubai? Because
Dubai?
You moved here recently.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Why Dubai? Last year, I've been invited as a speaker to the World Biohack Summit. That was the first year. And then I realized that the problems that people face now here, burnout, mental health issues, whatever, huge workload. This is what we had 12, 13 years ago in Europe. In Britain, so UK, the same way as in Germany. I have to tell you something. In Germany, 2012, the German government has declared burnout as a national security issue. It became so intense. And this is what I'm seeing here now. And really, we think that we can help.
And some people think it's cool to say, I've been through 2-3 burnouts. I hear it a lot. I mean, it's detrimental to our success,
We are talking about value systems, We're talking, it's good for you, then it's okay. I don't think so.
No.
I believe very much in healthy work environment. I believe very much in happiness. This is the 6 pillars of life. This is this is exactly my topic. How to lead people to happiness, which is a mental state, and basically an evidence. People are looking for a feeling. Demand that happiness is a feeling. It's not a feeling. It's not an emotion. It's an evidence.
Could you list the 6 pillars for us?
Yeah. So it starts with spirituality. Because spirituality is something that we lost completely.
That's going in deep.
Yeah, but spirituality means for me, this is a higher energy that interconnects everything. So I'm talking about energy basically, and not about religion. And you have the book here. Yeah. The second point is.
Did you sign it? It's not. Look at that.
I will.
There's
I
no
wanted
autograph.
to. No. I wanted to wait for this experience, and that's something very personal. Not just writing something. But for the audience, when
spirituality is where it starts. We have to dig deep.
While people listening to us, I would like to ask them to score themselves between 1 and 10. 1 would mean I'm very poor in this area, and 10 would be I'm perfect. So spirituality, how is it in your life? Do you practice it or not? So this is.
Shall I give you my
score? 1
to
10. Yeah, please. If you are so open with that.
I think I'm between 8 and a 9.
This is good. This is perfect.
Yeah, I have a morning routine, which is all about reflection, perspective, and it involves meditation, visualizing. I visualize where I want to be. And so when I'm recording this podcast, in my head, I've already done it. I've already walked the walk, talked the talk.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about the guests we're going to have for next year. I already have a whole list of guests in mind for 3 months ahead. So, and visualizing is a big part of that. Meditation is where I quieten my mind. I'm distraction free. There's no notifications in the morning. I wake up at 5 and I journal. And journaling, I'm finding very therapeutic. And I always list 3 points that were highs, 3 highs of the day, where my energy was at high level. I was vibing at a really high frequency. And then low vibe. When did my energy crash? What were the 3 low points?
Yeah.
And I do this religiously every morning. This practice takes me no longer than 10 to 15 minutes. All of these. So I feel like I've been on a spiritual journey for the best part of a decade. Everything came crashing down in my life and I rebuilt myself. But before I rebuilt myself, spirituality is where I started. I wanted to know who was I, what makes me tick, and what does my soul want? Forget the cars, the money, the holidays, the designer clothes, forget all that, the job. Like, who am I inside? So spirituality, I score between 8 to 9. I think I have time. I need to still drive improvements in certain areas. And I've become very consistent with it in the last 2 years since I've been running my business. My 5 a.m. routine is non-negotiable.
This is the key. This is the key to success.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah,
So what's the second pillar?
Okay, so the second pillar is social relationships, because this is something we don't find time, for friends many times,
Especially in a world, online world, everybody's on the screen.
Everyone on the screen.
Everybody wants a Zoom meeting. Yeah.
We don't meet more, so call me, but I don't know whether we have time or not, we're too tired to have a dinner at home, cooking for friends.
But it's so true though. When somebody calls me on the phone and I don't recognize the number, or somebody I know even, apart from Ravi, they call me, I'm thinking, hold on a minute, this was not scheduled. No.
Yeah, like, we're living in this measurable, absolutely.
It's terrible.
Also, the scheduled time is, but the social relationships, the Harvard study has been made in, it's still ongoing, and it's the biggest study on longevity. Yeah. And it would state that social and private intimate relationships are the most important for people, longevity, not health, not sports. Everything is very important, so certainly it's a package.
But the human connection.
Yes. And this is what we suffer still of COVID, so.
Yeah, we're in this digital era where everything is just, and also it's made us the most lonely people as well. I can relate to this. Earlier this year, I thought I have to scale my business. I have to work really hard. I put all the hours in, and I try to prevent the burnouts by staycations, digital detoxes. I've become much better at that now. And it's been a journey. But I went through some really lonely phases. And when I look back, it was the times where I was not out networking. I was not going out to events. I was just stuck behind my screen, connecting with my teams around the world. Yeah. That was my connection through the screen.
And then you believe that it's true,
No, I was feeling unhappy. And
I know, but it's...
Yeah, and I thought...
You're conscious about it.
I most of the people are not. It's an online business. Yeah. And, Ravi walks in, he's full of energy. It's because he's been in an office every day, working with lots of people. And he said he really vibes off that. And whenever I say, listen, why don't you work from home sometimes? Why you have to experience the Dubai traffic? And he'll say, do you know what? The traffic's worth it because I love the energy of the office. And I think it is really, really important to connect with humans in real life, off screen.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
So what's the third pillar?
So what is your score? Just think about it. I'm talking to the audience. So third is intimate relationships or relationship. Okay. So your intimate relationships.
Yes.
Because this is something that many people suffer of not having one, or having one, but it is not really, let's say, honest.
Intimate relationship.
Like love, So I'm talking about,
we need to
romantic
be loved.
partnership.
Yes, yeah.
We need to be loved, but also many marriages is just based on compromise or lies,
sacrifice,
and sexuality lacking, whatever, And certainly, single life seems to be appealing, but many times what I can see is that loneliness lurks beneath the surface, So this is something that people always try to hide, but this is the truth.
But I think, and I've been through this journey, when I look back, when I was on my own, when I was single, these were the moments where I learned the most about myself. Yeah. Without a partner. I've always been in long-term relationships. And when I chose to be single, those were the periods where I thought, you know what, this is who I am without a partner next to me. And I learned what I want in life, what I don't want, what I'm willing to compromise on. I will never sacrifice. Never. I remember my dad saying to me once, Nazia, learn to compromise a little bit, not too much in life. Never take no for an answer. Work through the no, turn it into a yes. And never sacrifice, because when you start sacrificing, you will end up bitter and resentful, and you don't want that, So, yeah, really, I think intimacy is important. It's important to be alone on a self-discovery phase. It's important to be in intimate relationships and love and give love back. But we shouldn't do it for the wrong reasons. I think if you're worked on yourself and you're happy and you're living life on purpose, then it's okay to be alone sometimes. For sure.
For sure. Yeah. But even so being with someone, it's living. I think so. What about you? And then the fourth point is sports and hobby.
Yay, I love this one.
Very important.
Yeah.
So I don't need to explain it. I mean, now we're in the gym, so
We are.
I think this is the best place to talk about it. So sports-wise, sports, because we always find excuses, and then but opt in for very quick feedback, and quick successes. Taking a chocolate, for example, or taking ice cream from the fridge, but not doing sports. So this is what is missing. No time again, time constraint.
Yeah, but I think that's just a bullshit excuse. Excuse my expression. We can make time, right? It takes longer to burn, 100 calories than it does to consume 100 calories. And I find with movement, and movement has been consistent throughout my life. I've had a few periods in life where I didn't prioritize movement, but for me, it's mind therapy. I know if my energy is stuck, if I'm in my head, if I'm being self-critical, and you know that, I need to be more self-compassionate because you told me, I will go to a gym and it will flip my energy. I will come out feeling like I'm on top of the world and I can fly like a superhero. I kid you not. And I think that energy comes from movement, the adrenaline.
Sure. Yesterday night I was very, very tired, and then the first thing what I did was went down to the gym.
Yeah.
Because if people are stressed, first thing what you should do, you should get from your head into your body.
Yeah.
And this body-mind control starts to work.
You immediately de-stress. The
Immediately
moment you start
de-stress.
to move, the adrenaline kicks in, you're sweating, and that's it. Whatever issue you had in your mind, it's gone.
Yeah, but people do totally opposite. They stay home, take a beer, and an ice cream, whatever.
Order a pizza.
Rebounds, and then
and make themselves
the stress
even more,
is going, and then they cannot sleep. So
feel
alcohol,
worse.
for example. So sport is the best medicine, for sure.
So pillar 4?
Yeah. This is pillar 4. 5, and then now, so we were talking about 6, and now only 2 remained. This is your work and money.
Yeah.
They belong together, and then health.
Yeah.
So we cannot discuss the importance of work because that ensures certainly your money.
We need to be busy, right?
We need to be busy consciously, but need to be busy. We have to earn money, but how important it is, this is certainly according to your value system. But in this very capitalistic way of living, you have to find your balance in that. But ask yourself, is it really so that you stand up every morning and say, hey, so good that I have this particular job, I'm happy to go to work? Or I'm just struggling, every morning when I have to stand up. Is it something that you love? Is the money that you earn enough? We'd like to get more. So one score for both. And then we have the health. But we have a huge problem because all the energy that we have taken away from the other 4 pillars, we put into the work, our health gets broken.
Yeah.
So this is basically the outcome.
Yeah.
And what I would like to do, so the 6 pillars of life is basically, it's not a guideline and nothing, so I don't want to tell people what to do, but I show them instruments, very clean instruments, also in private, so individual, also in team group sessions and seminars, how they could be very conscious about the 6, the stability of these 6, because as I told you before, happiness is basically your choice and not the destiny.
Yeah.
It is not an emotion. This is the evidence of something you did things right.
Yeah. And it's the 6 pillars provide that structure. I mean, I can talk from personal experience when I was in the last 4 months of my job and I didn't like it at all. It was making me very unhappy and I was doing 40, 60, 70 hours a week. When the alarm went off, I just wanted to curl up under the duvet and I didn't want to get up. I would snooze. But now, since running my business, if I get up at 4 a.m. and the energy is, you know what? I don't need to go back to bed because I'm living a purpose.
4 o'clock you stand up?
Sometimes 4 o'clock. I mean, I'm a 5 a.m. person.
This is not my time.
But sometimes it's 4:30, 4. Mostly it's 5 or 5:30. But what I'm saying is, on the exception, it's an exception, not the rule. I get up at 4. I want to jump into the day, Yeah. I didn't want to do that when I was working for somebody else because I was unhappy. I'm happy now, so 4 a.m. doesn't faze me. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah.
And I'm healthy. I have a lot of energy.
Yeah. I know. I
You
feel.
know?
Yeah.
You feel my energy. Does anybody feel my energy in the room? Yeah? Can you feel the vibe? So pillar
Sure.
6.
That was health.
Health. Oh, we
So
combined it. Okay,
work,
so health.
money, health.
Work, money, health. Okay.
Yeah. So as after 20,000 people I work with in the last 17 years, that was the outcome, you know, and
Yeah.
all the
Everything is
sessions,
linked.
everything is linked, you know, and
yeah,
then
mental and physical health. The bridging the two together, bringing the two together.
Yeah. But do you know what? That's it's so interesting because people we tend to complicate everything, you know. So
Yeah.
we think that it's such a huge problem, and it's so. I'm not saying easy, but it's really attainable to have not only a good life, but a
life.
healthy, balanced, great life, being successful. For example, in these 6 areas of
Yeah.
life, but also to achieve your goals when you are very conscious and you have self-awareness and you have the right people around you. Because this is also very, very important.
I think it's when it comes to shifting the mindset, and I'm still shifting, you know, every day. It's very difficult without experts like you, me, other experts in the field to actually really shift that mindset. Like I used to sweat the small stuff, you know, the little things don't matter, you know, because if I'm focusing on the little things, it stops me focusing on the big things. Now I've become more big picture. And I will still have some days where I'm worrying about something I shouldn't worry about. I have to constantly tell myself, Nazia, you're wasting your time worrying because when you could be, you know, not worrying.
But this is consciousness.
I have to constantly train my mindset. That's the thing.
You
Because
do
the
it right.
mindset is a stubborn machine. It's
Yeah.
not like you program it, you know, like Apple software, and it gets it and it's intuitive. It will come back because we're preconditioned.
Absolutely.
Right? So I was raised in an environment where my mom always put us as second-class citizens because my brother was the golden child. He was the king, you know, and she always prioritized him over us. So I think somewhere sometimes when I beat myself up about things, I think it's my preconditioning. On the one hand, she said, you know, you guys, you're secondary, your brother's number one. But on the other hand, she said, you're everything. You're the best thing that ever happened. You know, you got to believe in yourself. Somebody bullies you at school, you got to push back. You got to stand up for yourself. Sort of both schools of thought, if you will. And I think the mindset does need constant training and conditioning. And I would say when we get stuck in our heads, don't try and solve it yourself if you can't. You know, reach out to experts. Because we are not, and I've talked about this with many people, my team. If we were given a guidebook in school like this, the 6 pillars of life, maybe we would turn out to be well-rounded individuals. But no, the schools focus on academics, the education system. They don't focus on the soft skills, the emotional intelligence, the personal development, the growth. What does it take to make it in the real world? So I think we owe it to ourselves to reach out to experts when we are stuck in delivering certain things. You know, if we're in a negative mindset, if we are overweight, if we don't know how to eat healthy, if we don't know how to make more money, if we don't know how to switch from a toxic boss to a good job, to double salaries. I mean, I've helped unlock all of this for some of my clients, you know, where they were stuck. Now they're unstuck. But you're absolutely right. It is in our hands to drive us balanced life where we are happy in work, home, life, you know?
Yeah.
So as we draw this podcast to a close, and it's exciting, this is a pilot episode, and you're our first guest.
Oh, didn't know about it. Thank you. Such an honor.
I want to thank you for joining us today, sharing your story. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And given that we only met 2 months ago or less, is there any closing thoughts you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Oh, many, because you were talking about many important things. But one thing I would like to share with you, this is from the Dalai Lama. You need to want what you have and not to have what you want.
Love that. Say that again.
You need to want what you have and not to have what you want.
Wow. That's deep. I love that.
Yeah, this is the resume of many years of experience of him and also of mine. So I just wanted to share it with you, and big luck.
Thank you so much. We've loved having you on the show, and I hope you'll come back and join us again sometime soon.
Thank you. It was lovely.
Thanks for tuning in to the Transformation Lab DXB podcast, powered by Gym Nation. Remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. Your transformation starts today. See you next time. I'm your host, Nazia Khan.